So, I'm Tony Kay. I'm here to talk to you about building alternative agriculture. I actually am a software developer that's working on some ideas here. So I'm going to start with talking about corn. This has been a pretty successful thing. We can plant it densely, we can harvest it with machinery, and we can turn it into all this stuff. But unfortunately, industrial agriculture isn't particularly easy on our lands. We're essentially mining our topsoil. So over the years, we've seen things like toxic algae blooms in our waterways, killing fish. We've lost 12 feet of topsoil in many places, and studies show that we have maybe 60 years of this left before we destroyed all arable land on the planet. That's a problem. It's not so great for the farmers either. It's really a low-margin business grain farming, where commodity prices often drive the profits into the negative. The government subsidizes this to the tune of billions of dollars per state. And then you end up living in this, the corn desert. It's no wonder that the average age of a farmer is 59 now and trending upward linearly. Nobody really wants to become an underpaid tractor driver living in a corn desert exposed to pesticides. So what we do about this is restoration agriculture. We start working with the land to make something more sustainable. You start with keyline water management, where you put in things along the contour lines to slow the water, let it soak into the ground and become part of the farm instead of running off and carrying the topsoil away. In those contours, you plant food-producing trees that further slow the water and give storage for that water. And in the understory, you can plant progressively shade-tolerant things, grapes, berries, mushrooms. And then you leave enough space between the trees that you can do things like mob grazing, which improve the topsoil and actually build it up. So you densely pack animals together and let them graze more like those predators. And you have a dizzying array of food produced in these sorts of farms that have a much higher margin, which is better for the farmer. The trees also provide weather cover. So in severe weather events where there are high winds or high rains, you could do what's called alley cropping. You do your traditional crops, your corn, your squash, your tomatoes, what have you, in these alleys, and they're protected, further diversifying the farm, further reducing risks. Biodiversity explodes. You have amphibians, birds, mammals, insects, all in a balance where you no longer have to wage chemical warfare because your pests have predators. And so your crop damage is significantly reduced. Of course, our young farmers would actually line up to do things like this. In fact, many do it on a small scale, but we're not doing this on a large scale. One of the problems is economic. A small farm nowadays could easily run you over $1 million. That's just for the land. It takes a lot more than just land to get a farm started, equipment, etc. And even the experienced farmers who have land and equipment, well, they don't have the knowledge. They don't know how to convert from driving something in circles and putting chemicals in the ground to making a food ecosystem. So there's some serious problems here. You need data systems, you need software, you need experiments, you need adaptation, you need observation, you need intelligence to make something like this work. It's not something that's trivial to build. And there's also the element of time. These kinds of food systems take time to develop. You don't put a tree in the ground today and have nuts next year. It's a much longer prospect. But I think there's a real opportunity here because a lot of us in the community, we're really worried about this. We're worried about these kinds of problems, the environmental problems, climate change, carbon sequestering. And when we look out for solutions, we just see a bunch of opaque things. Well, maybe if I buy an electric car, right? Something might help. But we gladly donate to something that had good visibility. Hey, if I put my money there, I see carbon sequestering happen. I see farmland improve. I see livelihoods improve. I see food security. That's a very positive thing. I'm interested. But what if it were also a reasonably good investment? Arable land and food reasonably follow inflation. Well, in fact, arable land outdoes it. But it also has the added advantage of continuing to produce food as long as you maintain it sustainably. So now you have this kind of scenario where perhaps what you can do is build software systems, which is what I'm working on, to allow you and I to do micro-investing in this sort of thing, provide the critical systems to the farmer so that they can do the processes to improve this, all the while giving you feedback. So you, the investor, can go to the website, browse the specific projects you've invested in, see how the value has improved, see the food being produced, see the measurements on carbon sequestering. All of these things to give you the information you're interested in to make you feel safe that, hey, this is making a difference. Farmers no longer blocked by high interest payments and trying to negotiate with banks. They're instead enabled by and propelled by creative and innovative software systems and investors that understand the long-term needs of this long-term benefit. It's a win for the planet, it's a win for the farmer, and it's a win for the investor. Thank you.